Okay, welcome. We're going to do something a little bit different than usual. I'm going to pull up an older deck, Revolving Portal, and show you the difference between then and now. Because here's what we've got. This is automatically, when we have rotation, all of the old decks get converted to historic. But you can change it back to standard here just to take a look, and everything that's in the red highlight is a card that is rotated out of the modern standard. So you can see the deck seems all but useless now, right? Because everything's gone. But we do have the bones left, which was the point of this deck. We had 2 copies of one with the Multiverse, 1 Cityscape Leveler, and 2 copies of Portal to Phyrexia. And the goal of this deck was to throw these into the graveyard on purpose and then bring them back out with big cards like Invoke Justice or Brilliant Restoration. And the rest of these were all instants and sorceries, so we had 3 copies of Arcane Bombardment, so we could get a lot of extra value out of casting these other things over and over again. So we've lost a lot of cards that we would have used. You see that we have, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 draw cards that were basically to rummage around in our deck, you know, and that kind of thing, and throw the specific cards we wanted to into the graveyard and keep drawing. Big Score in particular, because it gave us 2 treasure tokens, also gave us a boost in the ability to cast big spells. So it hurts a little bit to lose some of these cards, right? But the question was, could I still go ahead and make a deck out of these cards? And what would I do with it? So, Multiverse Portal. Say hello to the new deck. We have 2 copies, one with Multiverse, 1 Cityscape Leveler, and 2 copies of Portal to Phyrexia. To help us out, here's what we've got going on. We've got 4 Hulking Metamorphs because you can have it enter as a copy of an artifact or a creature you control. So if I have Portal to Phyrexia already out, I can get a second Portal to Phyrexia with the Hulking Metamorphs copy ability. The other thing that I can do, I could copy Cityscape Leveler. So that would be kind of cool. There's also an interesting combo that you could keep using Hulking Metamorph to copy the Mightstone and Weakstone. Since it's legendary, you only keep 1 copy. But then if you can bring stuff back out of your graveyard, then you could have another one, you could have it copied again, that kind of thing. So it leads for some interesting kind of things. This is a very expensive deck, ostensibly speaking, right? Average is 5.0. That's a little misleading because we're usually not going to pay full cost for things, but I did put 27 lands instead of my usual 24. That said, I did still get a case where I drew 2 lands and I didn't get any other lands for the rest of the game. So Arena is still land starving me even when I have 27 lands instead of 24. But we've got 1 copy of 3 Steps Ahead. Not only does it work for a counterspell, but I could also, if I don't have a lot of mana, I could just draw 2 cards and discard a card. So a way to get through my deck, make sure that if I have one of these in my hand, I can throw it in the graveyard. I've got Chart a Course. Draw 2 cards and discard a card unless you attack this turn. I like this card for its flexibility because if I have something in my hand I want to get rid of, then I don't attack. If I got a creature on the ground and I have everything else set up with my board state the way I want, then I just draw 2 cards. So the flexibility of that card, I think, makes for a good substitute for one of the old rummaging cards. Reckless Handling. This is from Aftermath. I started this deck with 4 copies of this. And it worked out great. And you search your library for an artifact card, put it in your hand, shuffle, and discard a card at random. If an artifact card was discarded, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. I would get this card, I would go find my Portal to Phyrexia right away, I would throw my Portal to Phyrexia in the graveyard, I would get it out soon after. It was wonderful, except this is discard a card at random. It's not a good design. It might be better if it was discard a non-land card at random. What happened is it kept discarding my lands after that. So I learned, okay, I've got to make sure that I put down all my lands first, and then I'll play the card. And then it would take the exact wrong card, the only card I wanted to keep in my entire hand, and it would discard that hand. So the RNG was terrible on me. It went from 4 copies to 2 copies. I still like the idea of the card. I like the idea of this variance, as the Wizards of the Coast designers talk about. I like the little gambling aspect. The problem was having 4 copies, I ended up with dead copies in my hand all the time. And in the odds, it was never like you know how we're supposed to have a 50% win ratio on this game, just kind of on average? The odds were against the card I wanted going into the graveyard. So you have to be patient with this card, or you have to be willing to roll the dice. One board wipe with Urza Silex. Each player chooses 6 lands they control to destroy all other permanents. One Akal, first among equals. It's a 1/5, so nice chump blocker. If an artifact entered the battlefield, you look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one in your hand and the other in your graveyard. So another chance to put a good card that I want to in my graveyard. Just one Urtai Scorn for, good counterspell. So never a bad thing to do when you're blue. Instead of 2 more copies of Reckless Handling, I have 2 copies of Case of the Crimson Pulls. When this enters, you discard a card, then draw 2 cards. Then, when you have no cards in your hand, you solve it, and then at the beginning of your next upkeep, you discard your hand, which ideally you have nothing in your hand, and you just draw 2 cards. So you got instant card draw for the rest of the match. To add on to the Mightstone and Weakstone copy that I have 1 copy of Urza Lord Protector, so all artifact, instant, and sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast, and then I can make Urza the Planeswalker. One of the things that makes this deck fun is that people are not insta-scooping the way they used to. And I'm not sure if that's because we got new players or, they just don't have the experience with this card. I'm not sure what happened, because in the old days, if you merged and got Urza Planeswalker, they would leave. And I've had like 4 or 5 games now where I make the Planeswalker and they stay. And I get to +2 and -3, and I've done the -10 ultimate and still had enough loyalty counters for Urza to stick around. It's been wonderful. So just the ability to have a Planeswalker on the field and use your Planeswalker, it's been great fun. I'm not used to it. I'm used to them fleeing and running away. Realmbreaker, the Invasion Tree. I know I have 27 lands, but I can always use more lands. So you mill the opponent, you get 1 land card from their graveyard onto the battlefield tapped under your control. And then we have 3 copies of Harnessed Snubhorn. This is sort of replacing all those other white spells that got stuff out of the graveyard. Whenever it deals damage to a player, return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard straight to the battlefield. It's a 2/5 of Vigilance. So if I get it down for 4 mana, maybe it's good as a chump blocker to just help keep me alive with a lot of the smaller cards that are being played these days. 1 copy of Ill-Timed Explosion. Draw 2 cards and you may discard 2 cards. When you do, X damage to each creature, where X is the greatest mana value among cards discarded this way. We have so many choices because the Hulking Metamorph is going to do 9 damage. Cityscape Leveler will do 8, so one with the Multiverse and Portal to Phyrexia will also do 9. So we've got 9 different cards that we should be able to have 1 in our hand by the time we get to Ill-Timed Explosion. And so that works as a kind of board wipe, and maybe putting something specific that we want in the graveyard to get back. Now, what else besides Snubhorn do we use to get stuff back? We have a copy of Abuelo's Awakening. You pay 4 and then X, return target artifact or non-or enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with X additional +1/+1 counters on it. So I basically just need 5 mana and I can get a 1/1 flying spirit back, and it could be a 1/1 flying spirit Portal to Phyrexia or a 1/1 with the Multiverse. Say that 3 times fast. So kind of fun. We do have 1 board wipe with Expel the Interlopers, maybe 2 if you count Ill-Timed Explosion. That could be a full board wipe as well. Not a whole bunch of other interaction, and so I've got minimal board wipes as well. We also have 3 copies of Repair and Recharge. Return target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker from graveyard to the battlefield. This also creates a tapped Power Stone token, which is good considering all the stuff that we have that is artifacts that takes colorless mana. So we've got 3, 6, 7 cards so far that bring stuff back. Let's make that 9 with 2 copies of Campus Renovation. Return 1 target artifact or enchantment card from the graveyard to the battlefield. All of this stuff is artifacts or enchantments. This one's kind of cool. It's an Aftermath card because you can also exile the top 2 cards of your library, and then until the end of your next turn you play those cards. And usually you're going to get like a land and something else that might be useful to cast. So good value for that card. I like it. And then finally, we have 1 copy of Invasion of Arcavios. We can search our library, graveyard, or outside the game for an instant or sorcery you own. And so in my sideboard, I've got different things that we could use. 1 more copy of Reckless Handling, 1 Brotherhood's End for a small board wipe, another big board wipe with no witnesses, and a backup Expel the Interlopers. 1 Anzrag's Rampage to destroy all artifacts I don't control. White Sun's Twilight if I want to do the board wipe with the poison follow-up. And 1 more Emergency Abuelo's Awakening to get stuff out of the graveyard. So often I'm just going to automatically go into my sideboard and find something I like. It is possible that you could just go into your graveyard or your library and get a portal or one with the multiverse, depending on what you want to do, depending on what other cards you have in your hand. But that's it in a nutshell. So let's take this out onto the field. And let's see if we can still have fun with this type of deck. Welcome to Tpull's Corner. I'm Travis. Remember to like and subscribe. I would say this deck is probably kind of inconstant, so it's not going to be something you rank up with. And it might be a little bit harder in the current environment because there's just a lot of... It seems like there's a lot more small stuff. When Bloom Barrel came out, you got all these different creature types, and they all seem to reinforce each other, so, you know, each creature that you put down has so much synergy with the next that you're looking at a lot of 4 and 5 turn kills. So you're just dead. You don't have enough time to build up. But we shall see. We get a couple of really powerful cards already. Our opponent gets a disgustingly big card already. Let's put down a Tpull first. See if this helps us block for a turn or two. We still need one more land to make Urza's Silex work. And they're looking at our creature like they can already get rid of it, which is disturbing. Alright, let's see what you got. Nope, they were just bluffing. Okay. Alright, this, we'll put down Urza's Silex. We have 4 to activate it. Do they have... Oh, they have negate. Very unusual. We keep a Tpull as a chump blocker. And now I need more land. And they're using an Aftermath card. Isn't that? No, that's not Aftermath. That's just Cosmic Hunger. Okay, so now what do I do? A Boiler's Awakening gives me a 0/0, so all that I've got is this. Because I missed a land drop. 27 lands, my opponent does not miss a land drop, and somehow he has exactly the counterspells he needs. And I could use something that makes me discard what I want into the graveyard. And they're basically got their winning combination now. Notice we are stuck with a bunch of cards in our hand that are basically dead cards right now, for the most part. And our opponents have used up just about everything that they have and are almost winning. Alright, we will use Campus Renovation. We will get back the Hulking Metamorph. We don't need to copy anything. It just comes back as a 7/7. This also, I don't need an attacker, but it gives me a land drop for next turn. And a way to discard something! Yay! What can we do here? Creature gains +1 in trample. You already have +1 in trample. You already have trample. A flyer. They can use to destroy up to 1 target artifact if it attacks. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that convenient? Alright. We discard a card. Let's bring out yet another card. It doesn't matter. They're just Hulking Metamorphs. Now, our problem is he can destroy our 7/7. We could double block, though. And that's what I didn't want. I didn't want him to get one more creature out. So, this is kind of disgusting. Are they only going to attack with the one in the air? I think it's too late. I think we're dead. I think we're dead. They have too many creatures. I needed them not to have that last thing be a creature. They got... I needed them not to get a land draw, basically. Alright. We're just going to spend 1. We'll get the portal out. Oh, wait. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do this instead. Let's get the Silex out. Oh no, I still don't have enough. I'm dead. I didn't count my mana right. Yeah, I needed to use 5 and I needed 4 to activate, so... I think I was dead no matter what. I would have gotten out Portal to Phyrexia. They would have kept Kellen and attacked with Kellen and used it to destroy the portal. So, just doesn't matter. I was dead either way. They drew every land that they needed until they didn't need land anymore. And they had exactly what they needed to destroy my artifacts all of a sudden, right when it counted. Thank you, Arena. Okay. 250 card deck. They usually have exactly what they need too, but let's see if perchance they don't have the perfect draw. Get something down on the ground while we can. Can sacrifice that land if they want to. How about let's get rid of that now, so you don't have the choice to sacrifice that. We'll go get a second blue so we can cast the Monomorph whenever we want. And they did make sure to go get a swamp, so they want the black. We just need a way to discard something now. What does this thing do? Target of a spell, put a +1 counter, creature control, other than that creature. Okay. I think we just go ahead and do the Silex now. No attackers. We get to put a card in our hand. That's going to be Ill-Timed Explosion. And we kind of have the pieces of everything we want. Yeah, don't attack. Okay, we just do this. Destroy everything! Opponent is not missing land drops. We are. They do go digging. Alright. Ill-Timed Explosion. We throw away the portal. Let's throw away... Let's throw away... Let's just get 2. Now this lets them go get the card they want. So we're hoping that they're trying to look for a big creature. course, since they have a 250 card deck, they probably have 4 copies of Fabled Passage already. But they haven't done a whole lot. They've just had a couple of creatures so far. Did they... They didn't sacrifice the case. Okay. Instant removal. Well, we still got a token out of it. Okay, now they go searching for what they want. That's a large deck, too. Who knows how long it'll take for them to go find what they want. We sort of have to be patient here because we've got what we need to bring back the portal whenever we want, or maybe the Cityscape Leveler, and to copy it. They found it! They finally found it! Aw, that's so sweet. Okay, I think we just bring stuff back now. They just don't know what they're in for. Oh, look! Stroke of Midnight. They take my portal, which was in the graveyard, and they put it back in the graveyard. If they don't have a way to get rid of this dinosaur, I'm just going to get it back next turn. I don't think there's anything. I've got one more demolition field, but there's nothing I really want to destroy over there. Thrun, Breaker of Silence. Oh, that's a good card. That is such a good card. For me to poop on. Can I do 4? Get back portal. Auto pay. Sacrifice your Thrun. Attack with everything. Harness Sunborn brings back the Cityscape Leveler. Life is good. They can destroy one of those two. But we have 3 hulking metamorphs, so I can copy I can copy whatever's left twice. Destroy all creatures? Shame on you. Let's do this. Let's cast the next one. What is it with this 250 card deck? They're carrying the kind of cards, Stroke of Midnight that destroys permanents, and Starfall that destroys all creatures. They seem to have exactly what they need at any one moment to completely eliminate my board state. Sigarda, okay. They are not going to like me. We go get a Thrun. Oh, 4 of a kind. We can now full cast a 9 for a hulking metamorph. We get to copy the portal. Sacrifice your creature. Now we get 2 creatures per turn. And I kind of don't care what cards you got left. There's really nothing much you can do from this point on. I don't have to worry about the card Farewell anymore. So the idea they're going to get rid of creatures and artifacts at the same time, not likely. They can do one or the other. They can have more Strokes of Midnight. They can have another board wipe. They can waste time with Hunter's Talent. This is when the deck pops off. We get a Skrelv. We get a Sigarda. They're looking at my graveyard. We don't need extra land anymore. Let's do a second Hulking Metamorph. We don't want to copy the legendary. Also, everything has hexproof now thanks to Sigarda. So sacrifice 3 more creatures you don't have. And we are now playing with our food. We could attack. We won't. Because we just don't care. Look, it's a board wipe. I just don't care. Let's do Sigarda again. We play one with the Multiverse. This lets us cast lands off the top. Also lets us cast spells off the top. And this is one thing I didn't mention, which is kind of why I'm still playing with my food, so to speak. When you mill this out... Oh, do I not have lands? I don't have the lands. Let's just pass. When you mill this out, then you can get more creatures in the graveyard that you can get back with your portal. That's the idea. What can they do? They can make that a 3-1. And they can sacrifice this and go get another card they want. They're going digging anyway. I forgot I can't block that. It's got menace. Woman Path to get 5 lands out. That's a fun card. Now we have to wait for them to find 5 different lands. They've got to have different names. Alright. All that happens at the end step. Are they going to kill me with pain lands now? Let's go get Thrun. Play the land. And we can do fun stuff like, where is Restless Spire? I don't mind having 3 steps there. And I'm going to do a couple of things. One, I'm going to do a free 0-cast Hulking Metamorph. We're going to copy a portal to Phyrexia. We're going to make them get rid of their skeleton. And I want them to sacrifice this, search for the card they want, and cast it because I've got counter spells. Opponent likes what we got. What should I take? Let's take this one. I'll gain a life back. I'm gonna get all your lands. So we get the creatures out of the graveyard. With Realm Breaker, we get their lands out of the graveyard. We don't really care about that. Bloated sounds good. And what is this? Husk Burster Swarm. I don't think I've seen this one yet. Costs 1 less for each creature card you own in exile and in your graveyard. 6 with Medicine Death Touch. I like it. I'll take it. In the meantime, we can return something. Let's do Cityscape Leveler. And then I feel like that's enough. Go get another land. What did they lose? Ah, Realmbreaker's Grasp. Didn't help them too much with everything having hexproof thanks to Sigarda. Alright, they're going to get a spell that they want. This is where Urtai's Scorn comes into play. Or we could, let's see, create a token, let's copy. You know what? Dude, how much mana do I have? 3, 4, 6, 7. And I just need 8, right? Okay, so we can do all of these. Expel the Interlopers. That's a good card. We're going to counter it. We're going to go on a spree. We're going to pay 8. We're going to target Portal to Phyrexia. So it doesn't matter that this card is indestructible now. It's still going to die. Expel the Interlopers gets counterspelled. And I still have 2 mana to hold up Urtai's Scorn in case they have a second board wipe. Good game. You're not going to leave, are you? I guess we should. I guess we should let them. We should let them leave. We've done enough with all the. Isn't it interesting though that they keep pulling up all the board wipes they want? We'll take you. We'll take you. We'll take you. Life is so good. Land. Now I get the land. Destroy you. So the deck can get kind of overpowering. And ostensibly, that should have been a bad matchup for us, right? Because they had plenty of lands. They had the ability to search their deck for any possible card that they wanted in any particular moment. They got, out of a 250 card deck, they got that same spell twice to go tutor twice. They could get basically a board wipe whenever they felt like. They did board wipe us, and it didn't stop us. So, that's one of the reasons why this is a fun deck. When I made the original deck, I made it back in January of 2023. So more than a year and a half ago. I never did get rid of it. It was always in my deck list. And I only made one video out of it. But it's one that I would come back to time and time again and continue to play with. I neglected to point out in the deck tech, I do have one Blast Zone, which gives me another sort of board wipe. Just one more way to help control for things a little bit. I need one more blue cost, blue energy to power up the Spire. Let's just go ahead and power up the Blast Zone. Okay, we basically got everything that we want already. The only thing we have to worry about is if they can destroy artifacts and enchantment. There's usually one spell in this deck in which they can do that. Okay, so we do the ill-timed explosion. We get rid of one with the Multiverse. And Let's do Cityscape Leveler 2. Deal 8 point of damage, get rid of all the creatures. Disgusting haste creatures, which have already been the death of me quite a bit in the last year on Arena. Haste after haste after haste. This deck has some more haste creatures, but not a ton. Okay, so the question is, do you have... I want Cityscape Leveler first. Do you have something to destroy artifacts right away? Because then, out of your entire deck, if you have that already, we get to cry foul. And Fanatical Strength is not going to help you here. Look at that. But it doesn't work. We get our choice of which artifact to sacrifice. So they whiff. And we have Urtai Scorn. Plus we have Hulking Metamorph, which I like better, because now we have 2 Cityscape Levelers. We attack. That destroys the one thing they have. They do get a Power Stone token, so maybe they get some interesting things. But now, in order to avoid the problems with Cityscape Leveler, they need to put out 3 creatures each turn, because we're going to be able to destroy 2 of them. We destroy nothing. Submit 0. Submit 0. They don't get any Power Stone tokens as long as you don't destroy anything. In the turn. And that's game. And that's kind of the perfect round for us, right? We got a good variety of our cards. We got something we could use to throw things in the graveyard, out of the graveyard. We got the most powerful spells, which were the keys that we wanted. And we didn't get a lot of duplicates. You know, we got some other cards here that were also useful. Opponent does what they can with what they got. And they don't wait for us to play with our final cards. And you can't blame them. Multiverse Portal is the new deck. It seems to be working fine. I like it. Different ways to get your cards back out of the graveyard. And this is kind of one of the nice things you can do. If you've got a concept for a deck that you like. It should work from time to time. It won't necessarily work one for one every single expansion whenever they... What is up with all these big decks now? Another 250 card deck? Kitty Cat 97. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, for these deck ideas, because Magic the Gathering is like 80-85% the same game each time, there's a lot of cards that are designed that are not 100% repeats of a card that went before, but it's in the same ballpark. So, you know, because of the color pie philosophy, the green's going to have the giant growth type spells in every deck. Red's going to have direct damage in every deck. Blue's always going to have counter spells, that kind of thing. Now, there's going to be some variety in the way those cards are designed, but the majority of the overall forest is going to look the same. And that means, you know, if you want to make a discard deck any particular meta, if you want to make a mill deck any particular meta, you can do it probably. What Wizards tries to do, I probably should have put down Seacrum Coast, but we might be okay. They like to steer the game in certain directions. So if we've been playing a certain way, you know, say we've been playing with 5 colors, you know, maybe they want to change it so we only play with 2 colors next time. Or maybe it's time for a monocolor type of environment. So they design the next round of cards for the next expansion in a certain way to steer you the way they want to go, just so that you change up the style of play. And what that may mean... Oh, hello. Are you going to let us draw 2 cards? We both get to draw 2 cards. That is so lovely. They end up with 8, right? So you have to discard something? They do. We can see they already have discard. We can see that they have Deadly Derision removal, Pit of Offerings to get rid of cards from the graveyard. That's kind of deadly to me. So let's take it and let's get rid of stuff that they have, right? Elvish Mourn seems good. We'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of this. Granted, if I get my cards out, I could have used Elvish Mourn, but they might have something that they could use. Don't want to use Chart of Course yet. I don't really have... I could discard the Metamorph, but it's not really the right time for that. I ended up with 3 repair and recharges already, which is kind of not good. And they're going to get rid of my Realm Breaker. Which was most of what I had going for me. Do they chump block or do they take the damage? They take the damage. Patchwork Banner, interesting. They're going with Phyrexian, so their bird doesn't benefit. But Elisial Core does. Oh, Monument of Refraction. It's been a while since I saw this one. That's kind of a nice way to win. Oh, excellent. Okay, so... Chart a course. Draw 2 cards. Discard 1 with the Multiverse. Repair and recharge. Bring back 1 with the Multiverse. Go ahead and... I guess just play this to start with. No. Sorry, there. And we pass the turn. We will keep this one in my hand. That'll go to the graveyard. Now we just need a portal to Phyrexia. If they happen to destroy anything, we can get... Well, the creatures might die. Should I use the Metamorph? Oh, hello. I really need a portal now. Their deck seems strangely suited to mine, right? They managed to get rid of my artifact, and a 6/6 creature that doesn't accept damage is kind of tough on me. Let's cast this for free. We'll copy Sunborn. We can throw this in here. Discard a card. Let's throw away another Metamorph. And then we'll play this land here, which lets us surveil. Yeah, let's keep that. That seems good. We can't really attack with anybody. We end the turn. The call sort of sounds off. That means we get this in our hand. The land goes in our graveyard. We end up with 7 cards in our hand, 3 of which are lands. Not the greatest. But we have a Cityscape Leveler coming up, which is awesome. Okay, so how much do I have? 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do that. Auto pay. We're not letting Gix come down. Draw 2 cards. We will discard a land. And life is looking good. Sheoldred. Sacrifice. We'll sacrifice that one. He hit me. Okay, we use one with the multiverse to cast one with the multiverse. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We play the land. Do the damage. I think we cast Cityscape Leveler. Let's get rid of you. Resolve that. And then we can go ahead and play this. And we will get rid of Elyseel Core. That feels like we've done enough. I feel like we've done enough. We can attack with this. That seems fine. They block with Sheoldred. Do they have a board wipe? You have a board wipe in your hand. We keep this because we can't metamorph back with Repair and Recharge. Full hand, 7 spells. A Death Touch toxic creature. We're not afraid of that. We're never going to solve Case of the Crimson Pulse, are we? They do have a board wipe. Okay, we don't care. Why did you put down your creature then? This is weird. They are weird. They've got Monument to Perfection, that's why. They think they can fix things with that. They cannot. It's just too far gone. Okay, we play the land. What do we want to do? I think Campus Renovation is good. We have to designate which enchantment of the two we do. Let's bring back Cityscape Leveler. And, ooh, Invasion of Arcavios. That's a nice spell. Let's go look in our sideboard. Do they have... Yeah, artifacts. We want Anzreg's Rampage. We cast it. Bam! 3 artifacts gone! And then we can put this out. Full cast, full hard cast, Portal to Phyrexia. Life is good. This is usually when they scoop. Still 7 cards. Let's get back this guy. I like this guy. Land off the top. We'll play you. Reckless Handling. Let's go get our next Portal to Phyrexia, see what we discard. We discard... Oh, that's the one I didn't want to. We'll play this. And... we attack once because we wanted to... Oh, yeah, we attack there. We destroy you. We pay the ward cost. We get Realmbreaker back. We destroy our battle and convert the siege into Invocation of the Founders. And we mill them. And we get a land. And we end the turn. Only 6 cards in our hand now. We're not going to solve the case. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. Let's go back to the deck one more time. It really is fun. I mean, first of all, one with the Multiverse is just such an awesome card. I always love being able to look at the top of my library, cast extra spells off the top of my library. I find this is even better value than card draw advantage. So probably that's why I like it so much. The Portal to Phyrexia, of course, is a great card. It used to be, you know, it had its day in the meta environment. I don't come across it that much anymore. But as you can see, we can either get it from the graveyard, or if the game goes on long enough, we just hardcast it. It's not that bad. I really like the Realm Breaker getting us the extra lands so that we can afford this expensive stuff earlier. And the Ill-Timed Explosion's an excellent card in terms of functioning for a board wipe and using the very card that you want to get out of the graveyard later as your way to destroy the opponent's creatures. So that's a lovely card. I think it fits in well in here. You could probably, if you wanted to maybe get rid of one of the Reckless Handlings, you could put a second Ill-Timed Explosion in there. Wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm not sure what else you would do with this. What's interesting is for this, during a lot of playtesting, I would still die a lot, right? 4-turn, 5-turn knockouts against Bloom Barrel Rabbits or Otters or, whatever whatever creature type that the opponent wanted to bring in from Bloom Barrel would usually be enough to slaughter me pretty quickly. But we didn't run into any of that today. So, again, how do you want to say, the future performances or past performance is no indicator of future results. Just because I had some really good results today doesn't mean I'm going to take this into ranked. The aggro decks will still, more often than not, they'll eat your lunch. But as you can see, if you're up against any kind of mid-game type of thing, even if you're dealing with people who are mostly like heavy removal or tons of board wipes, this deck is sort of insulated from that in a way. From a lot of that stuff. Even the difficult cards like the Phyrexian, the big powerful Phyrexian cards, we still got around, right? Even though they had the Patchwork card, which bumped it up to a 6/6, so the -5/-5 from Mightstone and Weakstone couldn't destroy the creature we would have gone after. But we still had enough resources with what we have in this deck that we could handle those types of things. So go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the deck. As always, we thank our patron. We ask you to like and subscribe, help the channel grow, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.